what we have now is a presentation that's going to be called Language Industry Transformation Now and Tomorrow. It's going to be presented by Milos, and I apologize in advance for this family name. I'm going to try and say it. Milos Milovanovic. No, Milovanovic. I'm trying. It's not working. So it's Milos. He's going to correct me when he comes on. And we have Animaj Vandemir, and they're both from TAUS. So Milos is the head of business at TAUS, and Animaj is the training and events director. So, hello, Milos.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for the nice intro.
I completely butchered your last name. I am so sorry.
It was nice to hear you trying. I really loved it.
I tried twice. Thank
you.
So how do you say it, please?
Milovanovic.
Okay, next time. I'm going to get it next time.
Almost there. All right.
All right, but thank you for being with us. I really appreciate you both coming on and spending some time with us and helping, educate the industry. It's great to have you, and I know that this is taking time out of your, probably your evening by now or getting into it. So thank you again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you and come back in with about 5 minutes or so left so we can field some questions. Very good?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And I think Milos will be sharing the screen. So yes. Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining this session this evening. For us, indeed, for some of you, it's still morning. We're quite excited to tell you a bit more about the language industry transformation as we're seeing it at TAUS. My name is Annemai van der Meer, and I'm the Training and Events Director. And indeed, Milos Milovanovic, it also took me a couple of times to pronounce his last name, so don't worry, he's there, is here with me. So yeah, let's just dive into it. For those of you who are not familiar with TAUS, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of our company. We started in 2005 as a think tank. We organized events, published white papers and reports, and we brought together the industry leaders to talk about the key challenges in our industry, kind of what we're doing now here today at Loc from Home. So from all of these discussions, the TAUS Data Cloud was founded in 2008. And that was our first initiative to promote language data sharing. We had about 40 founding members ranging from IT giants, LSPs, tech providers, startups. And within a few years, the data cloud grew to about 60 billion words in 2,200 language pairs. And at the same time, this issue of defining translation quality and transparency around quality became more and more important. So again, with industry leaders and researchers in the field, we worked on creating DQF, the Dynamic Quality Framework. In the meantime, it's been adopted by ASTM as a standard for translation quality. And after we created that error typology, we also introduced a DQF dashboard, which is a platform to gain insights into the productivity, efficiency, quality, and more. And then over the past couple of years, we've done a large cleanup of our data cloud. We cleaned out all the duplicates, bad segments, and now we're left with about 45 billion quality data in 600 language pairs. We introduced a new matching data service, which is a clustered search technique to customize and clean corpora. And 2 years ago, we started the Human Language Project, which is a new platform for data creation with native speaker communities, especially in the low resource languages. And only a few months ago, in November 2020, we launched this new version of the old data cloud, the data marketplace. And I won't share too much about it yet, because that's what Milos is going to explain in more detail, and especially talking about the value of the data marketplace for the whole industry. So now on to the industry transformation. It's 2017 and we think we're ready. We published this manifesto called Nunc est tempus, which in Latin means now is the time, and the tagline to redesign your translation business. So we've gone from statistical MT to now neural MT, and the possibilities seem endless. Technologies are popping up everywhere, and as I said, now is the time to change our business models and make use of all these amazing new technologies. However, our big lesson was there, just because it's technologically possible doesn't mean it will actually happen. So 2020, a year of transformation, not just in our industry. We were forced by this global pandemic to adopt and make use of all these wonderful technologies and innovations. The way we're doing business now has changed vastly. So we're all using technology, and we're seeing more and more that this technology is here to help us. In the past couple of months, we've seen an acceleration of this transformation. The industry is moving faster than ever before. So with that, we feel that 2021 is the year of execution. We settle in the new reality and make the best out of all these changes. In the words of Winston Churchill, never waste a good crisis. I think that's a quote all of us have heard many, many times these past 9 months. So let me dive a little bit deeper into these happenings. For the Nucus Tempus ebook, we interviewed CEOs like Rory Cowan, who was then still at Linebridge, Smith Ewell from We Localize, Ayman Kopti at Oracle, and many more. And together with these interviews and all the extensive research that we did ourselves, we came up with 6 drivers of change for this reinvention of our businesses. As some of you know, at our annual conferences, in the Quantum Leap conversations with the MT gurus in our industry, we always ask them this question: what's more important, data or algorithms? And almost consistently, the answer we got back is that algorithms are all the same, they're open source and used by all the different players, and data is the differentiator. So you need the algorithms to build the engines, but the data is what defines the quality of the engine. So it's pretty clear we need to follow the data. And now that we know that algorithms and data will solve the translation problem, our business models need to change as well. Translation is no longer an afterthought or a pre-publishing service production stage. Translation will become part of the user interface and automatically adapts to the language and the communication preferences of the user. Speech is the new text. For a long time, we've been very focused on text data, but more and more we were seeing new media translations like audio and video, or so we're going vocal. And not only that, there's also been a large focus always on the Western part of the world, but other markets like China are leading the innovation now within our industry. We need to shift our focus on these new markets. And last but not least, without reading the charts, we won't be able to make informed decisions. So we need to collect the business intelligence, analyze, measure, and help us make decide on the changes to make in our businesses. So while we in 2017 thought we needed to redesign our business, we quickly realized we can't do it in isolation. So 2020, we thought we need to work together and redesign the whole industry. We organized this very, very hands-on. For maybe some of you were there. It was not just a listen-in conference, it was hard work. Around 300 attendees from all over the world joined us and brainstormed on what the future of our industry would look like, especially with the whole pandemic going on. There were many different interesting insights that came out of the event, but I just wanted to highlight a few here. Data is the new oil. We want to go massively multilingual. And in order to do that, we need to get the right data to train the engines. And with a massively multilingual solution, our current business models are no longer or may no longer be sustainable. So we need to rethink this cost per word model and find one that's more relevant to the new way of doing business. And last but not least, all languages matter. We are no longer focused solely on the top 30 to 80 languages, but increasingly aware of the need to make all these underrepresented languages digital as well. So you've been hearing me say data a lot already, and data really is what it's all about in our industry now. So late last year, we published a new language data for AI report, where we highlighted a few important trends. Language is core to AI, and therefore, language and therefore language data is at the core of the AI revolution, because it's the gateway to augmenting the key human intelligence skills of speaking and understanding. The second one is the data first paradigm shift. So when starting a new translation project, the focus changes from hiring translators to do the job to collecting relevant language data and preloading the models to do the job. There's an acceleration of change. So machines are thousands of times more productive than humans in translation and language tasks. And as I said earlier, this current economic model is probably not sustainable. The COVID-19 global crisis only made this more visible. So we are seeing that language service providers are diversifying into data annotation services for example, and freelancers and smaller agencies offer to sell their data rather than the translations. Then the rise of the new cultural professional. So this established cascaded supply chain of global vendors contracting with local vendors, who in turn hire the freelance translators, makes place for, or maybe exists alongside, a human intelligence task platform where neutral or natural talents, hundreds of thousands of them, crowd workers, are invited to perform small tasks where the main criterion for success is the roots and orientation in their local culture. And then finally, new markets move faster. When everything is basically up for change, those markets with the least to replace and the least legacy systems, and those established roles and businesses, they will typically move faster. The law of the handicap of the head start, I believe they say. So think about Southeast Asia, Africa, the Middle East. Well, now it's time to execute on all these changes we saw happening in our industry in the past years. There's a shakeup of the ecosystem going on. Everything is being automated, but we need to keep in mind that we need to value human intelligence. There are millions of crowd workers and translators around the world who keep our data in optima forma. So the big question is our economic model ready for the AI revolution? I'd like to now give the microphone to Milos, who will tell you a bit more about our opportunities with the data marketplace.
Yes, so talking about the revolution, let's start with the data marketplace that has been launched in November last year. Why data marketplace? We see from the industry leaders that more data, more high quality domain specific data outperforms a smarter model. Next to it, we see a big scarcity for some specific domains and some specific languages like low resource languages that are widely spoken in the world but still poorly available online. We see that traditional translation industry doesn't have high NLP skills and capacity, and we also stress the high importance of clean domain-specific, high-quality data. And we also see that technology providers do have access to the algorithms, but on the other side, sometimes they're not having enough of domain-specific high-quality data or low-resource languages data. What we say is the data comes first, and we're advocating this approach. All these points led us to development of the data marketplace together with our partners. One of them is European Union, who is financing the project. The project has been launched, as I mentioned, 1st of November last year, so we are live for 3 months already. What are the main objectives of the data marketplace? There are two main ones. The first one is to become a go-to place for high-quality language data. I will tell you a bit more about what this high quality means in the following slides. And the second one is to bridge the gap for low resource languages, so rare languages, and low resource domains. So as I mentioned earlier, there are big communities of people whose languages are not available online, and we believe that every person should have access to the content in their in their native language. And this is one of the key objectives of the data marketplace. So how does data marketplace look like in a scheme? It looks like this. So on the left side of the screen, we have data sellers who can be anyone owning high quality data. They have a possibility to upload the data, to get free cleaning and anonymization for the data that has been published in the data marketplace. They have a possibility to market themselves through the profiles. This is a feature that is still being developed. They obviously have a possibility to sell the data multiple times through basic sales of a whole document or through the clustered sales. I will tell you a bit on this one in a moment. And they have a possibility to get paid. On the right side of the screen, we have the data buyers who are usually big technology companies looking for high quality data. They have a possibility to search, to request the data, review and score as part of the feedback loop, cluster the data, and eventually acquire the data. And in the middle, we have TAUS, and we have data marketplace platform, who is managing these processes and services that are built into the data marketplace. Everything is protected with a strong legal framework, as TAUS has been in the data sharing business since 2008. We take data very, very seriously, and we have to protect it very, very seriously. What's there for data sellers? So data sellers can support the ecosystem through data sharing. They can benefit from cleaning of the data and anonymization free of charge for all the data that is published in the data marketplace. This is, let's say, a win-win situation for data sellers and for the industry. We see that all languages matter, and we have a responsibility to promote the languages that are poorly available online. We also have a head start from some data sellers who are taking the advantage of this opportunity and starting adopting it early, adopting it now, because now is the time. And obviously there is a possibility of monetization. What I want to add here is that usually, for example, for big enterprises, the translation department is seen as only as a cost generator from a financial perspective. This can turn the other way around, and let's say that the big enterprises can start generating some revenue to scale up their budgets, and then these extra budgets can be used for some, let's say, classic translation services somewhere else. So not only they can spend money, but through this business model, they can earn money. This applies also for LSPs and for the individual owners. Talking about the individual owners, we also see a new category, where translators are focusing to produce the data and offer it to the data marketplace. We see a case where for low resource languages, one of our ambassadors started creating data to promote his local language and to earn some revenue from it. We have different profiles in our data marketplace. Some of them are sellers, some of them are buyers, some of them are individuals. So here I just wanted to share an example of few. How does the data marketplace yes, sorry, I have two screens, so I was showing the slide on one and then it was gone on the other one. So we have example of few data sellers here. And how does the data marketplace looks like from, let's say, end user perspective? So everything starts with the data upload, where data is uploaded by the data seller. In the next step, the quality is performed, where bad segments are actually removed. There is a possibility for optional anonymization. Currently, we perform it manually, but it will become a standard feature. Price is defined based on some algorithmic suggestions, but in the end, the data seller is responsible to define their price they want for specific data, and data is published. Next phase is regarding exploration of the data. So data buyers have a possibility to search for the documents in specific simple search and download the whole document, acquire the whole document or part of the document. The alternative to that is the matching data clustered search, where data buyers will have a possibility to upload a sample of a domain specific data set, and then the algorithm will look for the similar segments across all the uploaded documents in that specific language pair to find the best matches. Then this data is aggregated in a data set that a buyer can decide to purchase or not based on a sample. So data buyer has a possibility to review the data, pay, download, and rate the data seller. Regarding the cluster search, this part also allows data sellers not only to sell the document as the whole document or part of it, but also to sell segments or sentences from a specific document, meaning that one sentence can be sold indefinite amount of times. What does high quality data mean? High quality data is the data that is clean and anonymized and clustered. It doesn't require any, or it requires minimal efforts before being added to the machine translation engines and to the systems. This is the number one goal of data marketplace, and we are providing cleaning, anonymization, and clustering through the data marketplace. Some of the cleaning services, automated cleaning services that are available through the data marketplace are listed here. Most of them are free of charge for anybody who uploads the data. So basically, they can upload the data, publish it to the data marketplace, but also download the clean version of the data set that has been uploaded. We're constantly improving these services, so I expect lists to get bigger. And to conclude, because we are almost running out of time, I invite you to check the white paper that we did with Baker McKinsey last year. Baker McKinsey is an international law firm specialized in, among other things, in data and data ownership. What we promote is, what this report promotes is that nobody can own the segments that are super generic, like please type in your password and this website uses cookies, or today's a nice day. Nobody can own these sentences and claim them as copyrightable. So this is the value. The segments are value, and this is something we want to promote in the data marketplace. Here I also stated a few examples from European law and US law, but please feel free to download the report as it offers quite a different perspective on the data ownership. And with this, we can move to questions and answers.
Excellent.
Just
Thank
in
you
time.
very much. Yeah, it's perfect. You guys are doing great. So I do want to mention that there is a giveaway for an ebook for the best questions. So if you've got questions, now's the time to ask them. And the best question is actually going to be selected by TAUS. So again, have the questions come in. So Milos and Anamesh, what we have is, how do you verify ownership of the data or translation memories? That is one of the questions. I'm not sure who's going to take it, but it's an open question for either of you.
Yes. So the ownership of the data is basically with the data seller, and our terms and conditions are protecting the whole let's say framework from uploading the data that is, let's say, free, available publicly online, or that's not owned by the data sellers. So this is quite regulated in data terms and conditions, and it's a responsibility of the data seller.
Great, thank you very much. We have another question that's come in. How can freelance linguists provide data sets and still comply with NDAs?
Well, I have two answers. The first one is to check the white paper that we wrote. The second one, if they still have concerns after the white paper is reviewed, they can always produce the data themselves and offer it to the data marketplace. This is the use case that we already have and that we already see.
Excellent. There's no other questions coming in that I see. However, I do want to ask, I mean, given the data that you're working with, have you experienced concern or pushback from any of the domains and clients, corporate entities, anything like that? I'm just very curious about the type of engagement you have with them.
Yeah, so this is quite interesting. So thank you for asking this. Obviously, there are two types of enterprises. One that are quite protective about their data and who don't allow any data sharing. But we also have different types of enterprises. For example, when we started Data Cloud in 2008, the big enterprises joined together and they shared translation memories among themselves. So a lot of these big tech companies are supportive with the data marketplace now. They're also supporting us. And we also see new companies coming in and say, hey, I'm currently only generating expenses for the company. If I generate some revenue for the company, my budget will increase. And then we see also a logic from a financial perspective changing the mentality. So, for example, some enterprises might have data that is not, so let's say, highly classified or it's super generic. They can publish it to the data marketplace and earn some extra budget for it that can be spent on something else. So yeah, two types of enterprises, and we see a difference there. But we hope that more and more enterprises will adopt the concept of the data marketplace.
Great, thank you. And while you were answering that, other questions came in. So we have, what new professionals, especially one's translators can naturally pivot to, will be needed to support the growing LD for AI sector?
Yeah, shall I take that one, Milos? Yeah. Even though
please.
you're killing all the answers, you're doing great, but let me get in here as well. So yeah, that's a great question. And of course, I touched upon it very briefly in my one of the slides, the rise of the new cultural professional. So we're saying data is the new oil. You know, data is what we need. We need good data, high quality data, all the different domains, the underrepresented languages. So if you're a translator and you are sitting on all translation memories, you're very welcome to become a data seller on the data marketplace, of course. Apart from that, there is a lot of new tasks in the data services industry that you can get into: data annotation, NER tagging, but also creating data, voice data, video data, images. So that's what I would recommend looking into.
Great question. And thanks for the answer. That's fantastic. We have also a question with respect to, is the data marketplace primarily for training MT engines, or do you offer TMs in TMX format?
Basically, if I may answer this one, Anumai. So basically, the data that is uploaded has to be in TMX format for now. So that's like a mandatory requirement. If some companies have some data that is in different format, we can convert it to TMX, and then the data set can be uploaded. The same is for the download of the data. The generic, let's say, download possibility is TMX, but if any specific request regarding any different type of format is needed, we can support that. Of course, the main use of the data is for machine translation engines training or AI systems training. But yeah, I'm not sure if the person who asked the questions had any other use case in mind, so we can directly answer that one as well.
All right, fantastic. Another question that came in, if I'm reading correctly, or my reading is correct, data is sold per word. Is there a quality or relevance criteria that also comes into the picture?
So data is sold per sentence, and the pricing is expressed per word. Basically, for every data set, we are providing a sample that a potential data buyer can review, and depending on this sample, they can make a decision whether to buy the data or not buy the data.
Great. And this is the last question we have, and we're going to have to do it fairly quickly. But is there a duplicate verification? So what if two sellers provide the same data?
Yes. So if the sellers provide absolutely the same data, the second data set will be declined, so they will not be able to upload it. But if there is one segment that is different, the data set will be available for acquisition in a simple search. When we apply the clustered search, the priority will be with the primary data uploader. I hope this is clear. The answer is clear enough.
It was clear to me, so thank you. Hopefully it's clear to everyone, and all the answers were clear to everyone that asked the questions. Did you have a preferred question out of that set? I know it's they're quite difficult to field, but if so, we can definitely select the winner of the ebook.
So I think Annemai has one, all right?
No, Milos, I'll leave that up to you. You answered most of them. So which one was your favorite?
No, please go ahead and you decide.
if you like, we can also announce it and you can deliberate
Yeah,
afterwards
yeah.
and we can announce it in the community. So please stay tuned to the community. I'm sure we'll be announcing the people there, and we'll give the Milos and Maj to a chance to discuss it. And we can provide the names of all those people who asked the questions. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you spending it with us. I apologize for butchering your surname, Milos. Next time we say each other, I'll be able to say it. And thank you. We're going to have our next presentation in a moment.